as you can tell from my name, I was born and raised in China. And I got my university education here in China. Then I went to Canada for my master degree. And after my MBA study in Canada, I moved to Germany to start my career. So I started my career life in Germany with BASF, which is I think is now the largest chemical company in the world. It was a very, very good training as a fresh MBA graduate. I was in a trainee program. We were able to, rotate into different countries, different functions, and different divisions to understand the whole ecosystem. I would say that was a very, very good basic, training for us in the start of the career. Gave me confidence to understand the confidence actually to master the business world, in a very complex structure. After about 4.5 years in BASF, I started a new career, a total new direction in Frankfurt Airport. I joined the investment and operations team. So that was a really fascinating time. I always loved to travel, and I always loved to know the people from different countries and different industries and different world, different cultures. I myself speak Chinese, Mandarin, English and German fluently. So I really love to meet the people, and I was in my elements in the aviation industry. So I moved from a Frankfurt Airport further into Rolenberg, a strategy consultant, and joined the actually aviation practice. So I was able to participate in many restructuring programs, as well as performance improvement programs in different European airports and airlines, including Milan, Munich, Austrian Airlines, Lufthansa. Was a very interesting era for me. And with that background, I also came to China to participate in the performance improvement program for Shanghai Airport, for Guangzhou Airport. I traveled in different countries and really met so many different interesting people. That was really a rewarding experience as a consultant. About 10 years ago, I came to Singapore and joined Temasek in 2013. Started in the group enterprise development group, setting up new business ventures, doing some complex buyout investment deals. That was also a totally different new directions for me, moving from operations to consultant and then to investment. It was a very steep learning curve for me to learn the new skills and the new terminologies, and got to know a totally new set of rules and people, and the new set of new ecosystems. I always keep a very open-minded, mindset, and I always love to learn new things and absorb, new things that I've never seen before. And this attitude and open-mindedness helped me to venture further in the investment world. After a couple of years at Temasek holding company itself, I came to the Temasek investee companies, Ascend Simbridge, and I was the chief strategy officer for a couple of years at Ascend Simbridge, then became the chief investment officer for Ascend Simbridge. So in my span of 5 years in the company, we set up, a couple of new business ventures. Started really from scratch, started from market studies to then recruiting a team, and then to investment and operations. It's really rewarding to see that teams in new business you set up start to grow. It's really like your own baby. It's very rewarding to see people are satisfied with what they are doing now. We also ventured into different countries. Ascender Simbridge at that time was a very Singapore-focused or Asia-focused company. We ventured into Europe and the US, really also starting from scratch. Decided that was what we first decided the interesting area for us, and we said, okay, we go for it. From nobody knows about us to doing $2 billion investment, in both Europe and the US. It was a very exciting time. The most interesting thing is really to convince the vendors, in Europe and the US, that we're serious buyers, and we have the balance sheet and we have the funds to do the transactions. The negotiation, took very, very long time, and it also took a long time to convince the vendors that we can close the transactions. After those pioneering activities, we really made a statement in those new markets, and started to have much more deal flows coming in. So I would say, throughout my career, I really like to pioneer into new areas, both for myself as a person, to learn new things, as well as for the company I work with, to pioneer new things, to set up new businesses, to really to identify what the new trends, so that we can really embrace the changes, and do not be, make sure that we're not left out of the world. Personally, I love to travel, and I love to do businesses, in different countries, in different languages, and I love to know different people. And I think that the world will be ever more connected than before, especially through this whole digitalization of our economy. In the past, as you probably do not know, I experienced a telegram time. I experienced, fax, telephone, letters. Took months for my parents to write a letter to me, when I was studying in Canada. So now, with every second we can communicate to the people all around the world. I think our world is actually getting more connected than disconnected. There are always this discussion about globalization or deglobalization. I think actually we are getting more and more globalized. So from a trend perspective, I encourage professionals, also young people to think big, to think in terms of our global community, and do not only insist on your own. I would say starting from a city, province, country. Do not be too narrow-minded. And there are a lot of good things from different countries and different cultures. Keep open-minded and learn from each other. So I would say globalization is still a trend that I firmly believe and I would like to promote as well. And as you know, coming from out of China and lived in different countries, I would love to be the bridge between the East and the West. And it's not as difficult as people think. Very often, even just after meal, people from the negotiation side can talk much better than before, right? So I think that's one thing that one of the trends I would say is important. Another trend I really see is the whole digitalization of our economy, and the real estate investment and real estate and infrastructure investment. So we see a lot of impact from the digitalization of the economy. People used to go to the shopping malls to buy things. Now is a lot of online opportunities. People go to the malls for experience, not for just buy things. We used to say window shopping, right? Just strolling around, and then they will go home and buy online. They compare the price. They for things they like, they probably can't find an alternative on online cheaper and better. So for us, we manage quite a lot of shopping malls. We really need to change. How can we combine these online and offline activities and how to make sure that the physical assets are still relevant and can still, command certain revenues from the customers? So I think, this is just one example of digitalization of our economy. Of course, now after COVID, a lot of people are working from home. Many companies declared that they were, flexible working forever, right? So office owners are a bit jittery now. Will still people come to my office? Do they need a still physical space? How can I make sure that my space is more attractive than the others? So the digitalization of the economy is impacting every aspect of our life. I'm also heading the data center and some digital infrastructure investment at CAPITALAND. We're really looking seriously into investing in more digital related infrastructures like data centers, and some other digital infrastructures. This is a really very interesting trend. In the past, people only invest, only the specialized infrastructure fund were invested in. We call them digital infrastructure. Now, every major real estate companies are looking into it now. Instead of the old traditional shopping malls or offices, people say, hey, can I invest in e-commerce logistic warehouses? Can I invest in data centers or even undersea cables? Telecom towers. These are the kind of new trend that people are all looking at. In the past, nobody even cares about those infrastructures, right? I think it's important to keep an open mind to see how the world is changing with globalization, with digitalization. This our business life, our investment focus will change as well. Nowadays, the young people get much better education and a much better access to education than say my generation, and they are they have such an inflow of all kinds of information and material. So many of the young people I interview or I hire have very solid fundamentals. I was very impressed, right? Analytical skills, and a lot of people are very good at complex problem solving skills. I think that is the fundamental that everybody should get. I would say the problem, most of the important is the problem solving skills and really think in a complex structure. Other than that, I think it's when I hire people, most important criteria for me is whether this person has inquisitive mind, whether this person only read, what the teachers or say what the others tell them to do, or do they explore new things on their own? Do they want to know new things? Especially in our Asian culture, we got a lot of teaching materials, a lot of stuff from our instructors, from our teachers, from our professors, right? I always ask people, what did you do beyond what your teachers tell you to do? And what extracurricular activities do you do? We all know that if you spend 100% of your time in studying, you got very good score, right? I always ask, do you spend 100% of your time in studying, or do you do other things which open your mind, which train your other skill sets, say teamwork skills, people skills, because later on in a society, in a company, or say even in your own business, I would say one of the most important skills is people skills. That you can handle your clients. That's the most important thing. You can handle your stakeholders. The stakeholders, range from vendors to your suppliers, your government, right? Your associations and your local communities. People generally, people who can handle stakeholders very well. At the same time, of course, has a very sharp business mind, so have better chance to succeed. So that's why I think the number one important skill set is to build your inquisitive mind, and the number two is really to train your people skills. And when people, when we move up the corporate ladder or, grow your own business, I think the third important element is really to train your leadership skills. Leadership is not only is not about manage. So I always differentiate between managers and leaders. I had a very, very good coach for a year. I was there almost every month, which is we always had a chat and reflection on what I achieved, what I still what my shortcoming is. Really, one of the important thing is she told me is manage people. A lot of people can do, but lead people, not everybody can achieve. And to lead people, you need to be able to build this trust with your people, with your peers, with subordinate, but also with your bosses, right? You need to have that ability to convince people to come along with you and to bring them along on the journey, whether it is difficult journey, or whether it is a sweet journey, whether it's a short journey, a long journey. People needs to really in sync with you, and that's your ability to bring them on board and then give them the empowerment so that they can fulfill what they need to do. So you are not here as a mom, and not here as a dad to tell people, oh, you have to do this and I control you, right? It's not possible to control everything. So if you really have this leadership skills, and you trust, you give the people your trust, and at the same time, really create such a structure and environment that they can realize their own potential. I think that's where you can get your leadership skills trained, and that's where you can really successfully lead a company, a team, a group of people. So one of the biggest learning for me is really trust people, learn to trust people, and be open to ask for help if you need, right? Because we are all living in an interrelated world. You cannot accomplish anything just by yourself. Trust other people, ask for help, but at the same time also give other people help as well. It's always reciprocal. If I learned a lot from my mentors. They taught me so much, and it really brought me where I am today. And I also want to give this to other people as well. So I also mentor, young people, our staff or friends. Also share my experience with them, freely, so that they can grow. So I think, one of the greatest satisfaction for me is to help other people grow, and to help other people achieve their potential. And I think through that, your life will be much more interesting because you are dealing with people. You're not dealing only with subject matters. And at the end, our world is made out of people, right? It means as human beings. To make other people happy, to see them grow, it's really fulfilling.